Well, I'll tell you, man, we're very grateful. So we're going to dive into a lot of information here today. You are a wealth of knowledge, and there's a lot to learn. I went to your event a couple of months ago.
You spoke at it?
Yeah, I spoke at it too. Yep, that was awesome. So we had a great time. We had like 15, 16 people from our team there. And you know that was last minute, right?
Oh, yeah.
We still were able to get those people there. But a thing with us is we're all about those events. Special things happen at special events like that. Your events are special.
Yep, thank you.
Before we get into the content and the training, I want to make an announcement.
I think you better let them do it, dude. You better tell them. You better let them know what time it is, man. Let them know what time it is.
So we always want to bring as much value as we can to our organization. So Danny and I, we've been friends for a couple of years now. He spoke at a few of my events as well. I spoke at his last one as well. And we just want to announce a partnership that everybody that gets started with Encore Solar and Build Network now has access to Danny Pessy's virtual training. It's included just for being a part of our company. So Danny, tell us a little bit about that training, the fire that people are going to get from it.
So basically, there's two ways you learn, from pain or proximity. And for me, I've been very fortunate to spend my whole life knocking doors. And it's my first job I've ever had. And I've only sold direct to customers, never had another job or anything like that. So I learned a lot from my pain. But the cool part is I was part of a couple really large organizations, and I was also allowed to learn from proximity.
Right.
So what's ended up happening is there's been different generations in the direct-to-home industry. And the first generation was around the late 90s, early 2000s. I didn't get a chance really to learn from them. But the second generation, which was the guys that helped build Atlas, Pinnacle Security, Vivint, all these big companies, I was able to learn from them. And I'm what's called the third or fourth generation, which started in 2006 to 2008. And so I was at the tail end of the second generation's climb to power. And so I learned a lot of techniques from them.
Yeah.
And then the third generation started blowing up, and I was able to grab and gravitate from the third generations what they did to help blow up their marketing companies. And so they were part of what made door-to-door great today. Because basically what ended up happening was there was Utah, the land of MLMs, and they figured out how to scale the perfect organization and make it so you can make commissions on your product and build out a network.
Right.
So I learned from guys that had 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 man teams.
Shoot.
And literally the heyday of when all this stuff started scaling out from the Utah side of things. And so I've been able to take all of that information over years of stuff that people might have said good lines or techniques that have already transitioned into other industries and ran other businesses, and taken that and been able to teach it and apply it into this training platform that you guys are now going to have access to. And so ultimately, for anyone that's going on, you guys get to learn from generations, years of techniques that I've learned on the street lights, and now you guys get to learn it when I'm in the spotlight. And so that's the biggest thing is
Nice.
The more that you practice and you take these techniques, you can learn exactly the stuff that I've said, other coaches have said, your mentor JC, your individual leaders have done, and go out and apply it, because ultimately you could spend your whole life trying to go and knock doors or do cold calls and try to figure it out on your own, or take your time and go through and do the training. And so that's what's so cool about this. When I started, there was nothing like this.
Right.
You learned from one guy, and if the guy you signed under sucked, you were SOL.
Right.
So now, luckily, you don't have anybody like that in your network, but the thing is there's a lot of people that do, and so they wouldn't have access to something that's good. So for your group, not only are they going to get access to you, but content from some of the best that's ever done it.
Right.
And you guys can take those techniques and apply it and get the direct results.
I love it.
That's what's really cool is not only do you have a platform, but you're getting the fuel to grow. Now the thing is the platform's the fuel. You got to go out to the gas station and put it in your truck, and then you got to drive. The drive is making the phone calls, doing the work. You can't just sit at the gas station all day and fill up your truck.
Right.
I mean, dude, you're going to just sit there. You got to get out there and do the work. And so that's what is so impressive about you is you continue to invest into your people. Not only do you pour into them, but you get other people to pour into them. And the saddest part about this industry is there's so many groups that are so standoffish and hold offish about getting other people to help them, then they wonder why they have to rebuild over and over and over again.
That's right. That's right. It's a very interesting situation, right? I know how to door knock, but not even close to what you do and what the people that you have in your platform are teaching. I want my people to learn from that. At the end of the day, my philosophy is if our company is not the right fit for somebody and they need to leave somewhere else, God bless them.
Yep.
Hey, it wasn't for them. But the people that we do have, we're going to give them the best tools to be successful, right?
Yep.
So we believe in our business model. It's a little bit different than what's out there. But hey, God bless every business model. There's a place for everybody. I don't have a scarcity mindset. And one thing I love about your training is that it's not only door to door, right? What kind of trainings can they expect from your training system?
So the thing is, door to door is just one avenue of your business,
right?
And it's not something that you spend your whole life in like I did. It's a job where you go out, you learn it, you apply it and teach it, so that it improves every other aspect of it. Ideally in this industry, the real metrics of if you're doing this correctly is 80% of your income needs to come off of your downline,
right,
and 20% comes off of your personal production.
Right.
But the thing is to get to the 80% in your downline, you need to dominate the 20%.
Yes.
So you have to figure out how to make 6 figures selling so that you can tell the people that you've done it, and then they can replicate it.
Makes sense.
And so that's what this content's for. It's designed to help you get over that learning curve faster so you make 6 figures selling so that you can teach people how to do it. And then that's how you grow it. And the problem that so many people get into these into the industry and in life is everybody wants to skip the selling part and they want to just go make the overrides.
Right.
And so that's the big thing is if you switch how you think to go dominate and learn how to sell for the next 2 to 3 years while still building your team, handing it off to a mentor,
right,
so that then when you're ready to run your own branch, you can actually have that already down so you have a story. And the story is what sells, is the story of how you spent your whole 2 or 3 years grinding so that you can now teach those guys how to do it. Because people buy into your story and then they buy into you. And so that's the thing is you need a good story. And if your story isn't attractive, people aren't going to buy into you.
Yep.
And so that's why I've been, love telling my story is just getting out there and telling people as an 18-year-old kid, I got into a car, I drove up to Seattle, Washington, lived in a 3-bedroom apartment with 8 dudes.
Wow.
I thought we were going to work in a store and people were going to come buy my product at the store. And then they hand me a notebook. There's 25 Mormon guys in there, and there's me, just a straggly little college kid who just got done partying, and said, get out and knock doors. And I'm like, holy crap. Wow. I just had my wisdom teeth removed 2 days earlier. My mouth was swollen and bleeding.
Wow.
Knocking doors in the richest part of Seattle, and I literally got my teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
And it was a week into it where I'm like, I didn't have any sales, and I just called my dad, and I was in a Wendy's bathroom, and I was like, dude, I don't like this. I come from a good family. My dad runs a company and was going to give it to me if I wanted it. And, it was a mechanic handwork stuff. And he's like, hey, dude, I'll always take care of you, always look after you. But right now you committed to doing something. Right. Finish that commitment.
That's good.
And it was at that point where I remember just bawling my eyes out in that Wendy's bathroom and talking to my dad, wanting to come home. And he's like, dude, you committed to it. Be a man of your word. And I stuck it out. And I made that commitment to finish the summer. Not make it a lifelong goal. I was going to there for 4 months and then go do something else. But I committed to that, and when I made that commitment, that's when I started seeing my life change because whenever hard stuff came up, I already decided I wasn't going to quit. So I had to figure it out. And so that's what ends up happening, and I think that's the hardest part about this generation is if you're watching this, there's going to be times where you want to quit. But the decision needs to be made up front when you join this opportunity that no matter how hard it is, this is the stand that you take to figure it out. And so if you make that decision up front before the hard stuff happens, you already know your answer. So when that voice comes in your head, like, dude, I want to go quit. I want to go to sit to the McDonald's. I want to go take time off. Like, no, bro, you've already made the decision. And so
that's such a golden nugget, bro.
Yeah.
Such a gold that if you guys caught that, man, this man here is not only highly sought after, he's, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, you're a legend, bro, in the industry and training, in door knocking, in sales, and a couple of different things. And the way that somebody that is successful thinks versus somebody that is not successful, there's a big difference. That it's such a simple thing, but it's so powerful that you make a decision ahead of time, is what you said, that you're not going to quit, that you're going to see it through. That way, when the hard times come, my decision was already made before I even started this.
Yep.
And to think that we are going to be successful in any endeavor without obstacles is naive.
Yeah.
we're going to get obstacles, and that is a part of the business, right? So I love that, man.